I thought I would choose a topic to talk about today and see what we can get started. So, chose the topic of the G.I. Joe Classified's most unpopular wave, which was Snake Eyes Origins. Here he is right here. There were 5 figures in that wave, and the timing was just about the worst it could possibly be with the pandemic hitting, and the movie was delayed and ended up really not hitting the mark with a lot of us. I feel like they changed Snake Eyes here a little bit too much, the character, what makes the man tick, and I think a lot of us were uncomfortable with those changes, and I certainly am. I feel like that couldn't be the Snake Eyes that we know. He wouldn't do those things. So, but it's a different Snake Eyes. That's really what it comes down to, and we do have a couple iterations of Snake Eyes now. So I look at it like there's one more here. And let's talk about the figures. The movie is what it is. I'm not really here to discuss that. But I do want to talk about the wave, because it was an interesting wave, and it certainly got shit on because the movie was not good. And I think it might have been unfair in some regards, because the wave does have a lot to offer. It probably shouldn't have wound up at Ollie's for $5 a piece, but it did. And I hope those of you who skipped that wave decided to go in and grab those while you could, because, like I said, they do have some things to offer, particularly for us photographers who we may pick and choose certain parts, certain accessories. So one of the interesting things about the wave is that it was the first wave to include some alternate head sculpts. So Snake Eyes got an alternate head sculpt, and it's a pretty good one, really. Actually, really does look like the actor. Let's look at this mask a bit before we take it off. Very sleek. Sorry, I didn't have the camera focused on him, and I still don't. A very sleek figure, and the articulation is very good, And this wave came along before there was any of this gummy bendy business, and they're very solid. As I pop the head off here, they're very solid feeling figures. From a quality standpoint, there's really nothing to be desired, because they got it. They really got it. The figures are solid. The plastic is good. The plastic is solid. It's strong. The weapons do not bend any more than you really should expect that they would. I love these little knives that Snake Eyes has. There's some incredible detail on the blades themselves. I'm really surprised that we haven't seen these pop up with another figure, because they're very well done. And then he has a single blade, which we have seen this one reused. I believe Jinx also has the same sword. Of course, it's repainted. There's a lot of great detail on the blade, same as the smaller knives. Superb detail on this sword, and actually has a bit of gold there just above. There we go, just above the handle. A bit of gold. So in addition to the base black, there are 2 additional colors on the sword, and the scabbard also is painted. It has some really great looking detail. This is not a bad figure, folks. It really isn't. This is one that could be used as a troop builder. It could be used as an Arashikage troop builder, certainly. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't be in your collection, particularly you photographers. There's a lot of potential. It doesn't have to just be Snake Eyes, but I'm, if you follow my stuff, you know that I'm started a little photo story series here, and he might show up. Wouldn't that be interesting? So, to me, Snake Eyes, this is a great figure. Absolutely no reuse anywhere. All these pieces were original when this guy came out. As far as I can tell, they have not reused any of the buck. And who knows? They may not at this point because of the pins, but I'm really surprised. One of the things that I criticize this wave about is that they didn't do a troop builder. And I think had they done an Arashikage Ninja troop builder, it probably would have been the one figure in that wave that people clamored to get, and the one that wouldn't have ended up at Ollie's. I don't know. That's just my speculation. Okay, so that's my thoughts on Origins Snake Eyes, the main character. For me, I gotta say, great accessories, great head sculpt. As a figure, man, this guy is a 10 of 10. He is sleek, has great articulation, great accessories. There is absolutely nothing to be desired. The movie took this figure down. All right, well, we should probably go ahead and talk about this guy, Storm Shadow, who was portrayed in Origins by Andrew. Man, I'm really sorry, I can't recall the actor's name, but he really did a fabulous job portraying our Storm Shadow. And for me, he was the highlight of the film. All right, but let's talk about this figure. The thing that a lot of people criticized, rightfully so, I think, about this guy is the color that they chose for his outfit. It's sort of definitely an off-white, a creamy, milky off-white. I think Chaz the Guru was the one who called it the cereal milk variant. And that is probably spot on. They could have done a little bit better choosing the color of his outfit. I think they screwed up there. Again, like Snake Eyes, this is one that did not get any reuse. None of these parts got any reuse anywhere other than his accessories. Let's go ahead. He, like Snake Eyes, and again, these were the first figures in the wave to have this feature of alternate head sculpts. So there you go. We have the matching cereal milk white head sculpt. Gotta have a mask for any ninja. And again, 100% original tooling for this figure, and what a great looking head sculpt. The unmasked head is strikingly similar to the actor. I apologize for the focus problems, but exceptional. Man, I'm telling you, this is another exceptional figure. So he has two swords, and this is one that we've seen reused quite a bit. These swords and the backpack / scabbard. There's no scabbard, but it's a little slot to put those swords into. I'm trying to think who else had these. I know, man, I am drawing a blank and I'm really embarrassed. It's our ninja. All right, sorry about that. I just wanted to find that reuse. And here we go. And I know there are other examples, but that's a great piece. Not a great piece, a good piece. I don't like that there are no real scabbards for those swords, but it's a good piece that we have seen reused. I know there's more reuse than just that. So I would say, for my opinion about this guy, they really missed the mark with the color of the outfit, even though it's pretty accurate to what he wore. It was a leather outfit. So there were some zippers and some other details, as you can see there, some silver details that really do make this guy pop. He's got some armor on his arms there. He's got the gloves literally painted all on his legs or on this piece here, but I don't know that he necessarily needs it. The silver really makes him pop, and I'm glad that they did include that. I'm not crazy about these baggy pants. They don't really translate very well on a figure, and if you want to add an accessory to his thigh, it's almost impossible to do. But that's how it looks in the movie, so we don't want to really get too far from that. So my feeling about this guy, as far as rating him, I feel like he's probably about a 7 in my book. I have a hard time reusing this guy in photography. I have shot him very little. You know, we've got how many versions of Storm Shadow now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and this is probably the least practical. I wish the head sculpts were a little bit more universal as far as that peg, because it would be cool to use this unmasked head sculpt for Storm Shadow. It's a really good looking one, and got the scar on the eye there. Yeah, so, you know, that is one that we could be using more often and probably should use more often. Okay, let's move on. Now there are 3 female characters to complete the wave. Let's start with Akiko. We don't really know a whole lot about her. She's a new character that was invented for the movie, debuted in the Origins movie, and she's a badass. And her allegiance probably would fall more to the G.I. Joe team. So I do use her when I'm pulling my ninjas together, pulling my G.I. Joe ninjas crew together. She is typically there. She should be there. And this figure is one that they got some reuse out of. She's the base for the Blue Ninja female. They did get rid of the heels because those heels made her really tough to pose, tough to stand up, tough to pose. She's got a cool weapon that we've also seen reused several times. And there's an alternate version of the weapon that comes down to 2 pieces. I really like her head sculpt. Akiko's really cute and very kind of innocent looking, but you know she could kick your ass. So again, I like putting her in there with my ninja characters. I don't think there are any G.I. Joe on the G.I. Joe side that reuse this necessarily. So, you know, I think she's easy to pose with G.I. Joe ninjas because there's not much reuse. Again, you will see this buck on the Cobra Blue Ninja. So, for me, I love Akiko. The only thing that my big criticism is these feet and these heels don't really work out. So, I'm going to give this one probably, I'm going to say a 6. I'm going to be tough on Akiko, even though I like her, but, you know, there could be more there. Okay, on that topic of there could be more, let's talk about what's probably the best figure in the wave, and that's Origins Scarlett. The head sculpt is so good that a lot of people use this as their go-to Scarlett, their main version of Scarlett. And I've seen folks also pop this head sculpt onto the other Scarlett bucks and customize them that way. And generally, it's an improvement. She's got the long hair, but they tied it up, and it doesn't really limit or impede her neck articulation that much. A little bit. I'd be lying if I said it didn't at all. But that's the main point about this one, I think, is that the head sculpt is really exceptional. This figure, it's interesting how her paint scheme actually fits in just about perfect with Tiger Force. So this is my Tiger Force Scarlett. The loadout is very skimpy, very skimpy. All she's got is this crossbow. Now, I will say, this is the best crossbow that we've had for Scarlett, and 3 of them. And this one is really tough to beat because it doesn't break down. Those others break down into pieces. One breaks into 2 pieces. The other breaks into 3 pieces with the arrow. And it's a lot of stuff. It's too much. And it's hard to pose, and the thing falls apart when you're trying to pose it, and that's no good. This one piece, it doesn't. Got the arrow popping out. It's freaking perfect. Now, again, like I mentioned, the buck paint job works just about perfect with Tiger Force. This one has been reused a lot. We've seen these legs reused many times. I'm not going to list the reuse. I haven't been scoring very well with that. The arms and chest, I don't think have been reused at all. But again, a lot of reuse out of those legs on a variety of different female characters, you know. And she's got a really cool looking belt there with what I assume is probably a pistol in there that they really should have given her. Just a couple of extra weapons, maybe a pair of pistols, would have really enhanced this figure. It's a great figure. It's an exceptional figure. It sucks that the loadout is so fucking skimpy. So, man, I would love to give this a 10, but I can't because of that skimpy ass loadout. It takes her down to about a 7. Could have been a 10 with a better loadout. Okay, now on the topic of better loadout. It's the final figure in my presentation. It's Origins Baroness. Okay, the thing a lot of folks didn't like about this figure is that long neck. They kind of screwed up giving her that choker. The neck's just, it is a little bit too long. They just fucked that up. But what they didn't fuck up is that gun, which has a suppressor on it, and we've seen it reused with the twins, and I think we've seen it reused again. This is a killer gun. It's not bendy at all. It's solid as fuck. No complaints about that gun. I'm surprised we don't see it more often, and it was probably one of the last weapons before things started getting fucking bendy. Now look at this. She's also got these 2 knives that really look great displayed on her, and they are really cool looking little knives with a snake on the end. Yeah, and she's got a pair of these, and I grabbed extras of these at Ollie's when they were $5 just so I could have a couple pairs of these babies, and I've used them on a couple of different customs that I made. But what a great, it just looks great on her. They really did a fabulous job of coming up with a great place to port those on the figure that displays really well. Same with Akiko. They made these high heels that make her kind of tough to stand. She falls over a lot. Other than that, it's a really good figure, and again, 100% new tooling just for her. The glasses are removable, and she doesn't have the marks on the side of her head like the original Baroness did, which makes it pretty much stupid to display without the glasses. So she looks really good without the glasses. They did a good job of engineering those so that she looks good without them, and there's no goofiness with little things to slide in there and look dumb without it. So Baroness, Origins Baroness, in my opinion, I'm gonna give the body's a little bit wonky. Those feet are really what I don't like about her. It's the feet and the neck are really the main issues with Baroness. Weapons, fucking exceptional. Probably one of the better loadouts in the early waves of G.I. Joe Classified. So, unfortunately, that neck and those feet are gonna hurt her score a little bit. So I'd probably put this one at about a 7. But photographers, I would challenge you to think about the figures that you photograph the least in your classified collection and do some shoots with those figures. I've been, from time to time, I will challenge myself in that way and try to pull out some of the figures like Barbecue that I just don't use very often. So it's a fun and interesting challenge. So I'm curious about your thoughts redeeming the movie wave, G.I. Joe Classified, Origins, the wave that would never go away. All right, folks, thanks for watching. I hope you will subscribe. Merry Christmas.